Let me ask you a direct question. When you get off the phone with your grown child, how do you really feel? Is there a lightness in your heart, or is there a knot in your gut? Do you feel respected, or do you feel drained? It's so easy to tell yourself that the little barbs, the sharp tone, or the guilt-tripping comments are just part of the complicated love between a parent and an adult child. We convince ourselves that's just how they are, or they're stressed, or I must be misinterpreting things. But I want you to consider a hard truth. What if those feelings aren't misinterpretations? What if that knot in your gut is a warning bell? What if these aren't just uncomfortable moments, but signs of a deep imbalance, a pattern of disrespect that is silently costing you your peace of mind? This conversation isn't about how to cut your children out of your life. It's the opposite. It's about learning to protect yourself so that a real, healthy relationship has a chance to exist. It's about identifying the subtle weapons of emotional manipulation that can poison even the deepest love. Because you can love your children with every fiber of your being and still demand to be treated with dignity. Let's be very clear about one thing. You've done the hard work. You've put in the years. When someone, even your own flesh and blood, refuses to honor that, not with perfection but with basic human respect, you have not just a right, but a responsibility to draw a line. So, let's identify these warning flares. These phrases are not just words. They are signals of a deeper issue that needs your attention. The first signal, the first warning flare, is what I call the emotional invoice. It might not say, "You owe me," in those exact words, but it arrives in phrases like, "Well, if you hadn't been so strict, I'd be more successful," or "You have to help me with this." It's the least you can do after everything. The message is unmistakable. Your past parenting created a debt, and they are here to collect. They want payment in the form of your money, your time, or your endless emotional support. But a parent's love is a gift, not a loan that comes with a lifetime of interest payments. That's not a relationship, it's a shakedown. Real gratitude from a child acknowledges the effort, even if the execution wasn't flawless. They can be hurt, they can have questions, but when their primary way of interacting with you is by sending you a bill for their current unhappiness, they have turned your role as a parent into a weapon against you. You are not obligated to drain your retirement account or your emotional battery for an adult who refuses to take ownership of their own life. When guilt is the currency, the relationship is bankrupt. That isn't family, it's emotional extortion. The second phrase to listen for is the irrelevance card. It sounds like this: "You're from a different time. You just don't get it." That one has a special kind of sting, doesn't it? It's not an attack, it's a dismissal. It's a quiet way of saying that your entire life, your triumphs, your failures, your resilience, the wisdom you earned through tears and laughter, is outdated and worthless. You have navigated challenges they can't even fathom. You've built a life from scratch and loved through impossible circumstances. All of that experience is being wiped clean by the condescending idea that being older means you are irrelevant. Let me be clear, your age is not a liability, it's a vault of lived experience. It doesn't make you out of touch, it makes you a resource. When your own child uses your age as a justification to ignore you, to speak over you, or to make you feel like a ghost in your own family, they are not being modern. They are being arrogant. You are not required to sit silently while your wisdom is mocked. Your perspective matters. And if the person you raised cannot see the value in that, it is not your duty to audition for their respect. It is your duty to remove yourself from the audience until they learn to appreciate the show. Sometimes that requires emotional distance to remind them that your presence is a privilege. The third phrase that's a massive red flag is the relationship hostage. It often presents itself as a statement of independence. If you won't give me what I need, don't worry, I'll find another way. On the surface, it seems mature, but feel the energy behind it. Is it a calm statement of fact, or is it a thinly veiled threat? Is it an assertion of their capability, or a gun to your head? Help me, or you might lose me. All too often, it's the latter. This tactic is designed to trigger your deepest fear. As a parent, the fear of abandonment. They know that the thought of them walking away, of being cut out of their lives and their children's lives, is unbearable. And so you cave. You give them the money. You make the sacrifice. You break your own boundaries to keep the connection. But any relationship maintained by fear is already broken. It's not a connection, it's a leash. Genuine love doesn't make threats. It makes requests. A healthy child says, "I could really use your help, and I'd be so grateful." They don't say, "Do this, or you risk never hearing from me again." If affection and access to their life are conditional upon you meeting their demands, then you are not in a relationship, you are in a negotiation. And your love is worth infinitely more than that. You have reached a chapter in your life that you've earned. It should be defined by peace, by joy, by connection that is freely given and received, not by emotional tightrope walking. It is profoundly difficult, I know. Stepping back from someone you love feels unnatural. It's an act that goes against every parental cell in your body. But there are times when saying, "No more," is the highest form of love, love for yourself. It establishes a standard. It teaches them the price of admission to your life is respect. You're not abandoning them, you're inviting them to a higher standard of relating. The moment you decide that your dignity is non-negotiable, a weight will lift, you will feel it. So let's keep going, because recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming your power and your peace. When someone you raised begins to treat your love like an obligation and your presence like a convenience, the silence around that pain is deafening. Too many parents bear this in private, thinking they are alone. Let's pull back the curtain on these dynamics, because this clarity could spare you years of emotional turmoil. The next phrase you must recognize is the lifetime blame anchor. It sounds like this: "I have anxiety because of how you raised me." Now, let's be real. No parent gets it all right. We all have regrets, moments we'd handle differently. That is a given. But there is a world of difference between acknowledging past hurts and a grown adult who uses you as a permanent scapegoat for all their life's problems. It's a refusal to grow up. You will hear it when they fail, when they are unhappy, or when they want to justify their poor choices. "If you had just given me more freedom, I would have a better career. If you hadn't been so worried all the time, maybe I'd be more confident." Again, it's aimed right at a parent's biggest vulnerability: guilt. You begin to replay your entire life as a parent, second, guessing every choice. But I am here to tell you, you are not a lifelong warden for your child's happiness. They are adults, they have agency. Their choices, the good and the bad, are their own. Using you as an anchor for their problems keeps them conveniently moored in victimhood, and it chains you to a past you cannot change. You were their launchpad, not their lifelong cruise director. If you loved them, if you did your best with what you knew at the time, if you kept trying, you did your part. The rest of their journey is up to them. Do not let them tie their failures around your neck. And if every conversation inevitably circles back to their list of your parental crimes, you are allowed to walk away from the trial, not out of anger, but out of a deep self-respect. Now, let's talk about the next one. This one might be uttered in the heat of an argument, or more chillingly, in a moment of ice, cold delivery. It's this: "You never truly loved me." If you have ever been on the receiving end of those words, just take a breath. Because that is not a sentence, it's a verdict. It is designed to invalidate your entire life's work in one fell swoop. Every sleepless night, every meal, every sacrifice, every worry erased. It's designed to be a kill shot. Let's be absolutely clear. This statement is almost never about a genuine feeling. It's a strategy. It is emotional warfare. It's so devastating, so fundamentally cruel, that it can make you break down and surrender immediately, apologizing for crimes you never committed just to make the pain stop. But love is not measured in storybook moments. It's measured in the gritty, relentless, often unthanked work of showing up day after day, year after year. To have someone weaponize that against you is not a cry for help, it's an act of control. You cannot, and you should not, spend your years on this earth trying to prove your love to someone who has chosen to forget it. Real love sees the effort, even when it's imperfect. Someone who truly loves you back would never intentionally gut you with words. They would never want to be the architect of your deepest sorrow. This brings me to another seemingly softer, but equally toxic phrase. Oh, you're just being emotional. This is a classic form of dismissal. It might come with a roll of the eyes or a condescending pat on the arm, but the intent is clear to invalidate your feelings. It's a subtle way of saying, your reaction is inappropriate, so I don't have to take it seriously. How many times have you been told your feelings were too much? That you should calm down, not make a scene, or stop being so sensitive? So when your own child uses this tactic, it hits a raw nerve. It reinforces the lie that your emotions are a nuisance, that your wisdom is now just drama, that you no longer have a legitimate voice. But let me say this to you now, your voice has never been more important. Your perspective is not dramatic, it is dimensional. It's forged in the fire of a life fully lived. To have that dismissed is not just impolite, it's a form of silencing. And it is not something you have to tolerate. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to have a reaction. And if the people in your life cannot hold space for your truth, you are fully empowered to create space away from them. This part of your life is not for tiptoeing around other people's immaturity. It's for standing tall in your own truth. Every one of these phrases is a crack in the foundation, revealing a pattern of control, entitlement, or disrespect. And when you start seeing them clearly, you take back your power. This is not about being against your family, it's about being for yourself. You are not too old to demand respect. You are not too old to draw a boundary. You are not too old to declare, I am done. If hearing this brings a painful memory or a familiar ache to your chest, that is a good sign. It means you are giving yourself permission to finally name the hurt. Let's keep going, because the last phrases are critical. They will help you understand where you stand and give you the strength to move forward. The next phrase we have to address might appear benign, but it functions like a mute button for your wisdom. It's this: I didn't ask for your advice. Now, of course, adult children get to make their own choices, including their own mistakes. You understand that. You've lived by that. But when those words are delivered with a sharp edge, nobody asked you. It is more than a declaration of independence. It's a slam of the door in your face. In that moment, they are effectively saying your experience has no currency here. The decades you've spent learning, adapting, and surviving have been relegated to an unwelcome opinion. And that hurts. It hurts because your advice almost always comes from a place of deep, protective love. You're not trying to run their life. You're trying to illuminate the path with the light of your own hard-won lessons. When that offering is treated not as a gift, but as an intrusion, it creates a painful distance. A chasm forms. If your child makes it clear that your value in their life is conditional, contingent on you staying silent and agreeable, that is not a respectful relationship. That's a dictatorship of one. And you, a parent, are not required to live in emotional exile within your own family. You have earned the right to speak, and while they are free not to follow your advice, a respectful child can listen without contempt. If they can't, you have to question whether the relationship you're fighting for is even there anymore. Now, we come to what is arguably the most insidious phrase of all, and I want you to listen carefully. It's when your child says, "You're the one who needs help, not me." In a loving context, this could be a genuine expression of concern, but that is rarely how it is used. More often than not, it is a tool of deflection. It's a way to escape accountability by turning the spotlight of dysfunction directly back onto you. Imagine this: you're trying to talk to them about something that hurt you. The way they speak to you, their unreliability, their dismissiveness. And instead of listening, they turn the tables. "You're just crazy. You're the one with the problem. You always twist things. This is not concern. This is gaslighting, and it is incredibly destructive. Because it is designed to make you question your own sanity. You start to wonder, am I the problem? Am I losing my mind? Did that really happen? The moment you begin to doubt your own perception of reality, you become profoundly vulnerable to control. That is precisely the point. Let me be a clear voice for you right now. Needing help is not a weakness. But being told you need help as a way to shut you down, to shame your feelings, or to dodge responsibility, that is a form of psychological aggression. And it is especially vicious coming from a child who knows your every insecurity. If your conversations consistently leave you feeling confused, defensive, and questioning what is real, you must recognize this as a sign to step away. You are under no obligation to be emotionally present for someone who is using your mind as a battleground. If you are still here, still breathing through this, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are worthy of profound respect. Not just being tolerated, not just being humored. Deep, genuine respect. The kind that values your history, honors your heart, and listens when you have something to say. The kind that remembers you are the reason they exist. I understand this might have been difficult to absorb. It may have reopened old wounds. You might be fighting back tears or remembering a specific look that made you feel insignificant. That is okay. Naming these patterns does not make you weak or resentful. It makes you courageous. It means you've decided to stop carrying someone else's dysfunction as your own burden. It means you are choosing to love yourself again. So what is the next step? You begin by validating your own feelings. You stop making excuses for behavior that hurts you. You give yourself the radical permission to set a boundary. Perhaps that boundary is a shorter phone call. Perhaps it is saying no to a demand without explaining yourself. Perhaps it's a calm, firm statement. The way you just spoke to me is not acceptable, and I will not continue this conversation. They might get angry. They might change. But even if they don't, you will have chosen yourself. You will have traded turmoil for tranquility. And that, my friend, is one of the most powerful acts of self-preservation you can perform. You've earned the right to peace. You've earned the right to be heard, and you absolutely deserve to spend these years surrounded by love that uplifts you, not love that weighs you down. If this has resonated with you, if it has brought you a moment of clarity, please share a thought in the comments. You have no idea how many others are reading, feeling that same silent ache. And if you found value here, please like this video and subscribe to Strong Elderly Life. We are here to empower you with conversations that help you stand in your strength, protect your peace, and love yourself fully every single day. Here's to honoring your journey and walking forward with your head held high. Because you are not invisible and you are not powerless. You are a library of wisdom, a testament to resilience, and you deserve a life that is as beautiful as the love you've given. I'll see you next time. Stay strong.